Hey guys, and welcome back to another Tether Talks Live. This is the first Tether Talks of 2021, and I am being joined today by Justin Michael Willams. Justin's going to be joining us any moment. He is the author of a book called Woke, a meditation guide for the rest of us, and he's also one of my dear friends and fellow Modern Elder Academy alum. Slash teacher. He had a lot to teach us there. I've learned so much from Justin in such a short amount of time, and everything he sets out to do really does just inspire me so much. So I'm really excited to have him on to share his expertise with us as an author and as a human being. He really has a wonderful, wonderful point of view. For those of you tuning in, if you're an Android user, I would check the Google Play Store. More on that soon. Justin is going to be joining us any second here. And my last announcement before we start with Justin is that if anybody would like to join us for the accountability pods starting next week, learning the science of accountability, turning shame into guilt and keeping it actionable with a group of men, learning that experientially, 4 other guys in a pod. The sign up is in the app. All right, Justin. Well, this connects. We are. Hey, there you are.
Hey,
how are you? Good
how
to
are
see
you?
you.
You
I'm good.
too.
I'm good. I'm glad that I get to chat with you today. Cause
Is my video fine? I might have PTSD because the last time I was on live, like literally something happened and my face was like this close to the camera the whole time and the person didn't tell me. So
no,
is it okay?
you are framed up, my
Framed
friend.
well. Okay, cool. Perfect. What's up?
Not a lot. I just having a morning, so I'm excited that I'm talking to you because you're such a calming spirit to begin with, and then you've just got all the life hacks it seems when it comes to obviously meditation and returning to an optimal state of being. So I kind of said in the intro, but I always like to. If you're down, I would love to just take a deep breath with you. And at Tether, we do a 1-word check-in where we just say 1 word for how we're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. So we can both do it. I can. Addison checking in. I am physically jittery, mentally excited, and emotionally grateful.
Justin checking in. I am physically cold.
Mm.
I'm like actually cold right now. Mentally present and emotionally stable.
Love that. Love
Yeah.
that. Awesome. I just love how that sort of is like the entry point to the conversation.
Yeah.
It's always like kind of lover. So what's up? I mean, I should have called you to talk to you first because I just want to talk to you as a friend. But for everybody who doesn't know who you are or who does and is tuning in for the goods, I'd love to have you just kind of introduce yourself and please tell us about the book because it's one of my favorite things. It's on my night table right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Just super honored to be here with you, Addison. Like, you are such a brother to me, and the work that you're doing is so incredible and so important. So thank you for having me. And, I think I just feel really grateful to be here because as, a man and having grown up in the closet and around a lot of toxic masculinity, like literal physical abuse in my family and, emotional and lots of different things. I think one of the things that has become most important to me is understanding how my own internal work and my own healing can actually help impact the external world. And so all of my work, like one of the kind of quotes that I live by is that there are lots of conversations about change, but very few conversations that actually change something. And so
I
like,
love that.
that's it.
I have that written in big letters on my first
page of the notebook from MEA. So
Yeah.
I love that. You're going to see that quoted on the grid many times over on over at Tether. But sorry, keep going. I just wanted to
No, it is
say, 'cause I
it's an
had to.
amazing quote. And like I think the reason why it's important to me is because like my mission anywhere that I show up, whether it's in my music, whether it's through my books, whether it's through speaking, whether it's through whatever form I'm expressing through, is to actually help people change something. And that change has to start from within, you know? And I think that a lot of people, when they hear that, like they
Mhm.
think the woo woo, okay, like starts within, sure. But like what I really mean by that, and we're seeing it in the world right now, you know, is like
Mhm.
things change all the time. Like we change presidents, we change days, we change clothes, we change where we live, we change so many things change. But if we haven't actually done the work that it
Mhm.
takes to have that real revolution within, a real transformation within, a real healing within, then none of the changes that happen ever have any lasting impact. And so that's why I'm here to help us do the internal work so that all this external stuff that we're doing can actually matter and have the impact that we
Mm.
want it to have, you know?
I love that. And yeah, I was gonna say when you said woo, that's the other thing, that you are just so my vibe, because you're like me in the way that you're spiritually connected, of course, but you love science. And I love science, and I love when science can help us, self-improve and show up in the world in a better, stronger way. So
Yeah.
I love how, of course, in the book, you kind of you wrap it around in such a beautiful way, where you use science in a way to spiritually propel yourself, or even just kind of wake up, it feels like a bit. But I love that about you. So I mean, people have to hear about how this book came to be, especially the guys, because I mean, we have so many guys, especially right now with the year that it's been, just career life transitions, what now? Obviously we met at a very magical place where that's explored, and in absence of being able to gift that to every man who's in transition right now, I'd love to just kind of, I think your story is such a great one for really focusing in and owning in what you have to say, and then actually saying it. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. Wait, which part of the story? I want to make sure I'm telling the right part.
Well, just how the book came to be. I mean, you had
Yeah.
like sort of like you cut some things out, you focused in. I
Yeah.
was really inspired by that the first time I heard it, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, one of the, and I just want to say hi to so many of the people that I know and love that are joining in here. I'm just like, if, this is like the only way we connect with people right now. So
Yes,
hello to
of course.
Justin
Hello
Twin.
to all.
My mom is here actually. So
Very
she's on everything. Hi, mom. And,
I love
so
that.
one of the things that I'll tell this story. Okay. This feels like probably the most important story. So, um, several years ago, my grandmother, who I was super close to, got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The doctors told her she had a couple months to live. And when this happened, it was like a huge shock to our whole family. She was 67, seemingly healthy, seemingly young. And so I flew home to the East Bay in Pittsburgh, California, where I'm from. And I walked in the door with my suitcases. And right when I walked in the door, my whole family was there. My grandmother like goes, shh, and like pulls me back to her back room, and literally in that moment asked me a question that changed like the trajectory of my whole life. She just
Mhm.
said, if you were in my shoes and you knew you were going to die in 2 months, what would you do? And I'm looking at her, like,
Hmm.
what? Like, what are you talking about? And I literally was thinking, like, you're dying. Like, I'm not, like, I was like, I guess we're both dying, but hopefully I'm slower than you,
Right.
like, and she just said, close your eyes, get still, do that meditation thing you're always talking about. And what she really said is, and don't open your lips until you're ready to tell me the truth. And so
Mhm.
I closed my eyes and I felt this like roar of emotions wanting to come up, and I wanted to cry, but I didn't cry because when I was a kid, they said only faggots cry. And I just blurted out, I would quit everything that I'm doing and I would record an album. I would do music, I would speak, I would teach, and I would stop hiding myself behind the scenes. And, my grandmother just looked at me and was like, I know. She's like, I know. And she made me look her in the eyes and promise her that I would do it. And the thing is, the reason this is so important is because I always wanted to step into the forefront and use my art and use my voice in the world in a big way. And I stopped myself because I got teased and bullied when I was a kid about being gay, about being different, about growing up in the hood. Around all the certain kind of toxic masculinity I was around, being a little kind of like feminine Black boy growing up didn't work out well, and just made all the teasing and bullying make me think I sucked at everything. And I just hid. I hid. And so when my grandmother asked me this question, it just woke something up inside of me that I thought was gone. And she made me look her in the eyes and she said, I don't care when, I don't care what, just promise me you'll do it. Promise me you'll stop hiding. And I don't know about y'all, but like if I make a promise to my grandma, I don't break it. So so the rest, started to unfold from there. And now I use my voice through all those platforms, including the book, to just help people wake up to the truth of who they really are, beyond your story, beyond your trauma, and not by spiritually bypassing it, but by going through it and healing it, at the root.
Yeah. And the book is called,
yes, the book is called Stay
it.
Woke. Yeah, Stay Woke, a meditation guide for the rest of us. And it's I tell people it's a meditation book for people who think they would never buy a meditation book. Like, that's like really,
I love that, and there's so many guys that will, totally jump on that alone, that tagline. A meditation guide for the rest of us. Because there is sort of this, and I definitely felt it on my spiritual journey, and still to this day. And I know we've talked about this before, where it's like, if you're not like for an hour every morning, meeting the sun at this exact moment. And there's this huge misconception about, what meditation is. I know from experience, like, especially when you start, about what that experience is and isn't, and how it should and shouldn't be, which are things that, I've slowly removed from my life altogether. But, you do kind of want to control it, obviously. And then it's like, no, it just doesn't work for me. I can't stop thinking. That's the one thing I hear guys say all the time. And then you get like kind of the grin, and you're like, yeah, good.
It's crazy. Good, it's so funny. It's like, and I'm like saying hi to Alicia. I see so many people here who already have the book who are saying hi. Hey, love. It's amazing. So, so to speak to that, can I speak to that for a second about some of these misconceptions? So so I'll have all of our guys here, right, who are listening to this, like, just do one critical thought for a moment. So getting your mind to stop thinking is not possible. Like, if you're alive, it's just not. Like, literally, the idea that you could get your mind to stop thinking would be like me saying, all right, everybody, we're going to get our hearts to stop beating. 1, 2, 3, let's meditate. You would look at me like,
yeah.
And if for some reason you had a whole room full of people who were saying, oh, I got my heart to stop beating and it felt so good, then what would happen is you would feel like you were doing it wrong. And like, well, how come I can't get my heart to stop beating? But here's the thing. No one's getting their mind to stop thinking. And anybody who says that they did is lying, because what is the idea that you got your mind to stop thinking? A thought. That itself is a thought.
Right. Dude, that's like, such a good metaphor for this, the heart, because it's so logical.
Yeah. And so here's what I think we really want, okay? Like, we've been taught and programmed through kind of like the inaccurate propaganda of meditation that we should be wanting our minds to slow down or stop thinking. That's not what we want. What we want is our minds and our thoughts to start working for us instead of against us. That's what we actually are, I think, saying that we want. But when we shift the question in that direction, then we get to ask, how do I get this mind to work in favor of my growth and of my healing, instead of always sabotaging me and dragging me down? And now we have something to work with.
I love that. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, that was like, we were like,
yeah, we were both in the same
pitch.
Wave. So I'll say one more thing that feels relevant to this in terms of myths that I think are important for people. So people think that meditation is about relaxing. Meditation is not about relaxing. Meditation might feel relaxing sometimes, but meditation is about becoming more alive. That is like the most important thing that I can say to you. It's about becoming more alive. And so what that means to become more alive means to become more connected to your emotions, more connected to your passions, more connected to the causes you care about, the things that you believe in, what's important to you, the people in your life. And so what that means is that when we meditate, we have to feel more. And I know, Addison, that you're like, you know, we've worked so hard to be able to feel. And sometimes it doesn't feel good. It just, you're feeling. And so that's the, you know, the frame that I give people is in the wheel of emotions. Like, we think that meditation is just supposed to help us feel the good feelings.
Right.
It's supposed to give us the capacity to feel all the feelings without it breaking us down. And so the quote that I'll give people to remember when you meditate is, meditation is not about feeling good. It's about feeling, period. That's it.
I love that.
And by feeling, we can actually experience more of the fullness of what our real life is really all about.
God, and that really like echoes even into just like peer support and, you know, talking in general. Like it's not just about feeling good. It's about feeling. So that definitely, gosh, that's a good one. Gosh,
I know
if our digital editor is watching, just start writing, because I'm gonna make you write an article out of this anyway. So,
yeah,
Victoria, she's about to think.
Well, the thing is, it's so funny is that quote, I was so mad about it because it like came to me like, I don't know, 3 weeks after I turned my final book in, and I was like, oh, I should have written the book. So anyway, that's one for you all here.
It's funny how that happens. I mean, even with us, struggling doesn't make you less of a man. It just simply makes you human. It's something that, you know, we say all the time because it hits at home and it makes sense. And then somebody will like say, well, do you have like a tagline? And we're like, and then it's like, yeah, right. But like the point, like it, because it just really hits home. I feel like it does. So, okay. So your grandma asked you to write the book. She didn't ask you, sorry. She asked you what you really wanted, and you wanted to write the book. It would be a totally different story if your grandma asked you to write this book and you didn't want to write it, wouldn't it?
Totally.
Yeah, totally different type of thing. But so you decided that. So then what does that look like for you? Because I feel like, you know, I have the opportunity here when I do these things to not kind of play into sort of the usual. I mean, we both do press and we know how it can seem like, oh, Addison had these 3 bad things happen and now Addison is part of this community and is saving the men. And you're like, whoa, Addison still is one of the men. He honors his journey every day. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm fixed. It's just like a matter of, you know, my daily relationship. Yeah. And I've made sure that I'm part of a community, which is more, you know, what I try to hit. So in that same vein, when somebody writes a book, you know, it seems like there's this distinction of someone who can just naturally and easily write a book and publish it, and then people who don't. And I know from your story and many others that you get to hear sort of in the background that's not what it's like at all. And you actually did many things to sort of allow for the book to come through you. It's the new year. People are thinking about giving up things, you know, for a couple of days and then feeling bad about it. And we're starting our accountability pods around much of the science that you also love around that. But I just love the idea of you kind of talking about that, what that really was for you, and the things that you sort of, I know that you have a better way of saying it, but you didn't give anything up, I don't think.
No. Yeah.
You know.
Okay. You want me to go there? I'll go there with
that.
So,
okay. Yeah. So down.
Yeah, I'm totally down. So true story is, because of the way that I grew up and because of the trauma that I had faced and everything, we all of us, based on our trauma, we learned some ways to adapt, right? And like a part of many of the adaptations that I have just came with all these numbing mechanisms, right? Like using so many things to numb, using caffeine to numb, using drugs to numb, using alcohol to numb, using sex to numb, using everything around to not feel it, right? To just keep being productive, like just keep going, just keep being productive. And for all of us, one of the things that I love that you said, Addison, is like, we're all on this journey. One of the things that somebody called me the other day that I appreciated was they called me a guru disruptor. I was like, yes, I will be that, because like, it's not about me being this person that knows everything. It's about being on the journey and being able to share gems of what actually freaking works. Right. And so for me, I had this crazy experience where over the last several years, I've like given up, which I'll reframe for you in a moment, a lot of things. Like I've given up alcohol a few years ago. Then I gave up smoking weed. Then I gave up caffeine. Then I gave up lots of things. But going into the point that I think Addison wants me to talk about is I was getting ready to write the book. And one of my mentors says to me, she goes, Justin, you've given up all these things to try to create a space for you to be the full expression of who you are. She's like, but you're missing your most distracting thing of all. And I'm like, what? I'm like thinking, girl, I don't drink. What is, like, I thought she was going to say sugar. And I was like, I'm not giving up sugar. I refuse,
Right.
you know? And so
Yeah.
she was like, boys and sex, you are still leaking. Your energy system is leaking. And it wasn't like I had this crazy toxic relationship with it, but like the way that she described it was like I was in a hot air balloon and like using the fire, you know, the fire of my transformation and all my personal work to like let the balloon go higher and higher. And she said, and then I would get to a certain height where I wasn't quite where I wanted to be yet, but I also wasn't on the ground anymore where I was with the people who I was with anymore. I wasn't really vibrating there. So I would get lonely somewhere in the middle, and then I would like throw down a rope or like create a leak in my system. And that leak would just keep me in this like weird in-between stage, never feeling fully connected to where I was, but not getting to where I wanted to go because I had this energy leak in my system. And so what I did was I actually gave up for, first she said she wanted me to do 6 months celibate. And I went, Pah! And so I said, I'll do 3. So I do 3 months. And at the end of those 3 months, I felt such a dramatic difference in my creativity, in my energy, in my healing, in stuff coming up, in me recognizing once I pulled all of my sexual energy back, even flirting and stuff like that, who disappeared from my life and who stayed was really fascinating to watch. And really the point of this, that I'm telling you this is this. She had said to me, this book and this work is going to take all of your creative energy if you want to become who you want to be. And right now you have a leak in your creative system because creative energy and sexual energy from every spiritual tradition and non-spiritual tradition are considered the same thing. In Greek, they call it eros, you know? So anyway, I'm going on and on, but I'm saying this because
I love it.
I gave it up, but the reframing that I want to give to you all is this. When Brenda, who was my mentor, told me about this, she said to me, Justin, I don't want you to think about it as being celibate and cutting yourself off from your sexual energy. She said, what I want you to think about it is redirecting your energy. It's not shutting it down and like not want it. She's like, I want you turned on. I want you energized. I want you whatever. But instead of your sexual energy having you, I want you to learn how to have it, how to direct it, how to use that creative energy for what you want. So true story is I said I would not be able to do it for 6 months. I did it for 3, then I did it for 6. Then at the end of 6, I was like, I'm going to go till I'm done with my book. So I went for 9. Then after 9 months, I was like, oh, I think I want to go back out there. Then I tried a little something and I felt totally overwhelmed, like I wasn't quite ready. So I pulled a boundary back to myself, and it's now been longer than I should say. It's been really like 2.5 years. And and not because I'm even trying to be celibate, but it's because now it's crazy, Addison. It's like I used to, just like everybody else, porn and swiping and grinding and jacking, and I used to all that, right? Like I'm not, trust me, I was not a sexually like.
I don't even know what the last thing you said.
I don't know. I said jacked. No, but I'm like, I'm not like somebody who's like, was like a nun. I like went to Burning Man, and went to the orgy dome. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so I'm saying all of that because now I'm in a place where I have such reverence for how important this energy is that whoever is going to get it literally needs to be like able to meet me and match me energetically, that it's worth that kind of exchange. And so I ask people to look at, I'm not promoting celibacy. I'm saying, look at your leaks. look at the leaks that you have, and then understand how you can patch those leaks up so that you can start to grow and change and evolve. Anyway, I just went way too long
No,
there.
no, and I think that's like it's such a cool topic because like no matter how you cut it, when men get honest, obviously whether it's sexual health, sexuality, sex in general, like it's at such like a central point of our mental health and our well-being. And I think no matter how much you do or don't relate to your story specifically, I think if we blend it down, every guy, I mean every dude I've ever been best friends with, every guy I've ever known, in some way has at least once felt either controlled or they feel like they've lost control to porn or their sexual drive or I just can't focus. I need to have sex. And that I think is like very universal and very understandable. And the idea that you're admitting on a daily, weekly, whatever, sometimes basis that it has that much power,
Yeah.
that need and that want. So I love what you're saying, and I'm slightly familiar with like the transmutation of sexual energy from my coaching days. But I feel like if you just acknowledge how much power that currently has in your life already, and the idea of starting to hone that power, and whether you're, whether it's to celibacy and like all the way through like you did or in whatever way. But I think every guy, listening and who will listen to this later because they all go in the app, you know, can
Well,
identify with that.
you know what? You
If
just
I could.
inspired me. I jumped up because so when I say my book is not your normal meditation book,
Mm-hmm.
and hey, everybody, somebody asked two things, like, is there another word we can use besides celibacy? Yes, actually.
Mm,
So I'm saying it now for context, but I never used the word celibacy. I was saying,
right.
I am redirecting my energy. That's it.
Mm,
I'm redirecting my creative energy. How do I redirect it? Or like Addison said, transmute. And in my book, I actually have a practice. So it's literally called How to Stop Porn from Fucking You. Like literally, that's like
I
literally the
remember
title
this.
of it in
Yeah.
my book, a creativity practice. And I just wanted to tell you guys one thing. This is on page 245 for those of you who have the book. Like, this is the science, okay? So I talked about some of the energetic aspects, like raising your vibration and high angel, elevating who you are and your creativity. But what is actually scientifically proven, as I'll read this, watching too much porn causes less sexual satisfaction in a relationship,
Mm,
difficulty getting aroused by the same partner, a low sex drive, erectile dysfunction, trouble reaching orgasm, loneliness, anxiety, depression, self-loathing, increased risk of infidelity, greater likelihood of divorce by 70%. It's already a
wow.
high divorce rate, and skewed and unhealthy views about what you think sex is supposed to be. And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Wow.
it's fascinating because I honestly think this, so I don't place any judgments on people who are in like the porn industry or sex workers or anything like that, because like people are doing what they need to do to get by, and there's different lifestyles for everybody. But what I will say is this: I think 100 years from now, we're going to look back at porn and
Mm,
go, oh my God, this was like one of the most damaging things to the human psyche. Just like, think about this, cigarettes, it took 125 years from cigarettes coming out for anybody to say, these are bad. Can you
mm.
imagine somebody smoking in an
Yeah.
airplane now? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no. Yeah, no. The science is there. It's overwhelming, and it's something that, for this, in the same vein, that people want to, don't want to bring it into light in that way. And it's very similar to the tobacco industry and the way that was sort of packaged and given to people. And I think too, like, I don't know what I am and I'm not supposed to say on here, but I'm technically a co-founder and head of brand, so I think I decide that. But you know, I think everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but I know that I've been in that position where pornography has been used and it seems like a good idea. And then whatever I was escaping from, the second things come to fruition, I'll still keep it, able to, that sense of shame right away.
Yeah.
And literally like what feels like a loss of power,
Yeah.
and it's so funny when guys can't, when they say, I don't really get what you mean when you say shame to me. I literally say, okay, you know, when you watch pornography and you think it's a great idea, and then you finish, and there's that second where you're like awkwardly trying to get a tissue, and like you feel disgusting and there's no reason you should, but you do, and you know what I mean? Like it's like, and I'm not saying that, I don't bring this up for any of the wrong reasons. It's just like that moment is like, it's such a teaching moment. It's like about where you automatically go and how much energy there is there. And so I think it is, we've totally got into like this sexual health conversation now, but I think there's so much
It's all part of
energy
it.
there, especially for men, and like understanding that. And again, just, I think with anything, it's not like, about, like you said, it's not about celibacy, or it's not about like cold turkey, giving up anything that doesn't serve you tomorrow, but starting to be aware
Yeah.
of what doesn't serve you, but also just understanding what you're doing, what the science of what you're taking
What's
in
really
is,
happening.
and what it's doing to the rest of your life, because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know that, if you struggle in your mental health because you deeply want to be in a relationship, you deeply want to partner someone, or just like deeper connections, well, you just read that like scientifically, porn is actually actively taking away from those
Taking
things.
away from that. Can I
So
add one thing, Addison,
yeah,
that
yeah.
feels important to me, just for any
Mhm.
boundary that anyone's setting, right? There's two kind of golden rules, and I talk about this in my book, that I give to people. So when you're deciding what to give up and what not to give up,
Mhm.
right? Like, if you take anything from me today, please take these two things. So number one is, you have to have a vision for who you want to be.
Mhm.
Right? This is why I hosted the Manifest New Year's Eve event for everybody. Like, what is the vision of who you want to become? Because if you don't have a vision, you don't have a way to choose to direct your energy. So what I say is, when you're thinking about your different habits or the things that you want to give up or not, you ask yourself this question, super simple filter. Who do I want to be? What's the vision of who I want to be? And is this habit or this thing in question taking me closer to that or further away? So
Mhm.
when I had to look at who I wanted to be, was an author who was putting out his first book, that practiced what he taught, that was fully creatively engaged, who had this, that's who I wanted to be. So that informed my decision to go celibate and redirect my sexual energy, right? Just for some people, they're like, oh, I want to give up drinking. Well, for some people, that doesn't matter, but for some people it
Mhm.
does. So it's like,
Right.
nothing is inherently bad for you, most things. It's more about, who do you want to become, and is the habit that you're asking about taking you further or closer? Now,
Right.
the second thing is really the big part, and
I
this is
just
a
want to tell you that's my screensaver for
real.
closer to or further away from when I worked with my coach, and like literally, because it's like, because I do it literally with the digital world, where it's, when I open my screen, I want to be asked, is what you're about to do bringing you closer to that vision or further away? And so I keep it as my screensaver.
That
And
is,
then my other screensaver is tether. Just,
yes,
keep it.
I'm so glad you said that, Addison, because it's like a golden rule, and we make it very complicated. Like, should I do this? Should I not do this? If you don't know what you're either moving closer to or further away from, then you don't know. You have no way to know. So
Right.
who do you want to become? And then, is this thing, this person, this habit, this opportunity, this whatever, taking you closer or further away? Now, the second thing that's around this is, when you are choosing to give up something or get rid of something. And this was a huge part of my experience with giving up alcohol, giving up drugs, giving up caffeine, and then ultimately not giving up sex. I'm not
Right.
giving up sex, but like changing my relationship to it, was
Mhm.
this. A lot of times when we set boundaries, okay, all we're thinking about is what we're putting a wall up from to push away. And so
Mhm.
when you're pushing something away, that takes this force. It means like something's trying to come towards you, and all you're focused on is like, push it away, push it away. I can't drink. I shouldn't eat this. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't text him. I shouldn't go on that app. I shouldn't do it.
Right.
But you have to change your perspective to, instead of thinking about what am I pushing away, to what am I protecting?
Mhm.
What am I protecting? And that changes the perspective completely. Because when you go, oh, I'm actually doing this because I love something. There's something in my
Right.
life that I'm trying to bloom or blossom because I love it. just like a mother protecting their children. Like they love the child. So it's not about what am I pushing away? It's about what do I love? And so that is a key to any resolutions you have. You have to anchor into how am I protecting who I'm trying to be? And then that makes it easier to keep the things that are out of alignment away instead of forcing them out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
completely. You know, what am I choosing? Because you're choosing something, whether you want to bring it, you know, to to top of mind or not. I know that one of our lovely viewers asked to just repeat the golden rule. So I'm just going to let you kind of repeat it so that it can imprint.
Yeah, very simple, Darish. So it's just, you have to look at who you want to become. What is the vision that you have for your life, whether you're trying to create it, like I was trying to create my book or whatever. And then everything you do, every habit you have, from watching TV to exercising to when you sleep to who you talk to, you ask, is this thing that I'm doing taking me closer to who I want to become or further away? And that's how, if it's further away and you're making a conscious choice to do it, then you're at least making a conscious choice to know, I am making a choice right now that is taking me further away from who I want to become. And then that will help you even get back on track, because we all fall off track. You know, last night I stayed up until 2:30 in the morning knowing I had to be up at 7. And I knew I just couldn't get off the freaking news. Like I was so like spinning. I was like, Justin, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. You're going to regret this. You're going to regret this. And I finally was like, okay. And when that happens, the key is I knew, thank God for my practices. In the past, I would have been, oh, I'm so stupid. Why did I do that? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Just compassion, Justin. It's okay. Today was a big day. You did the best you could. Go to bed. We'll try again tomorrow. You know?
Yeah, and I love that, because the worst thing you can do to yourself, honestly, is once you've had that moment of acknowledgement and that's going to inspire a change of behavior. You know, that's one thing that I really committed to last New Year's, thank God, because we didn't know what 2020 was going to be, of course, but not wasting my own time with that. With going on, like, so for me, the next morning, I still would have been punishing myself and like, you should have gone to bed, and this is happening because you didn't do this, and this is happening because, you know, so I just agreed to really just stop wasting my time. Okay, well, we're here now, you know, and stop, you know, that kind of talk. And it's weird how much energy, again, to bring it back, like in time, was going into like disciplining myself. I was like, I'm like reading this comment.
Yeah, me too. That's why I giggled, because I saw her comment. She was like, I know it's past midnight in Nairobi. And
now we're telling you, go to bed. But be nice to yourself tomorrow if you don't go to bed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll make sure this lives on. All right, Justin, I'd love to end with a song. I'm the worst, because I just love music, and I love, like, you know, we don't get to any live music right now in the world. And he's ready.
I brought my travel guitar, and a couple people asked where to get my book. So it's in my bio, but you can get it anywhere. My book is called Stay Woke, a meditation guide for the rest of us. And it's everywhere, literally, like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, anywhere. It's on Audible as well. And so you can get the book on Audible, and thank you for asking. And I do want to say that one of my brothers here, Nerd with Abs, is on here, and he is an incredible like fitness like instructor that's super conscious and is also very much into mental health. So I'll introduce you guys, Addison, because he's on here. Yeah. Is like
something magical happens every time somebody says that in my world. So I'm always down to
so
meet, especially any referral from you, of course.
Yes. And hello, Rashad. Hey, Will. Hey, Zawadi. Hey, everybody. I see it. Just know that I see all of you, and I love you, and I'm just smiling that you're all here. So I think we're tuned up. Okay. So no matter how much we meditate, no matter how much we pray or practice or sleep or whatever podcast we listen to, or how many times we're on tether, there's always gonna be that child inside of each of us who just wants to know that they're enough. Not for what they do, but for who they are. You know, not for what they do, but for who they are. And so I'd like to, instead of making this like a performance for you guys, I'd really love to make this song like a prayer. like an intention. So if everybody would be willing just for a moment to just close your eyes for a second, hand over the heart, and just imagine a childhood version of yourself. And look at this childhood version of you and notice, is that childhood you indoor or outdoor in the vision that you're setting for yourself? And notice where this child landed and around what age you are and what they might be feeling. And what did that child in you need most in their life? And right now, we'll get to tell that child inside of you that you're not giving up on them and that you're enough. So this is a prayer for that child in you, and this is called I Am Enough. And the chorus is called I Am Enough, I Am Golden Baby, yeah. And before I forget to say, it's on Spotify and everything if you want to look it up. Here it is. I need to cut my fingernails. My guitar playing is hard. Hold on. Little boy, don't cry. You've been in pain enough now. Little boy, don't cry. You've been ashamed enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise. No. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side, yeah. I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. Try it with me. I am enough. Oh, I am golden, baby. I am enough. You can whisper it, Addison. I am enough. Oh. Little girl, it's alright. Hey, sister, you've been ashamed enough. No. Little boy, don't hide. You've taken the blame enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise. No. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side. Here we go, say I am enough. Hey, I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Oh, I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. Listen up, say you are enough. You are golden, baby. You are enough. You are enough. You are enough. All right, so here's what I want you to do. You are golden, baby. You are enough. I want you to imagine that you're singing to a childhood version of yourself, and we're going to say you are enough to that kid inside of you, and you're going to say you are enough. And you don't have to sing it. You can whisper it. You can mouth it. You can just say you are enough. Come on.
You know.
You are enough. You are golden, baby. You are enough. To that child, like a prayer. You are enough. One more time. You are enough. Oh, you are golden, baby. You are enough. Last time, we're gonna go till we are enough. We are enough. All of us together. We are golden, baby. We are enough. This is our moment. We are enough. This is our time. We are enough. Oh, we are golden, baby. We are enough. We are enough. No. Ooh, I am enough. I am enough. Ooh, you are enough. You are
Beautiful,
enough.
brother.
You are
Thank
enough.
you.
You are golden. Even if your fingernails are too long and you can't hold down your guitar strings because you haven't played all Christmas and New Year. And what I want to say is this that feels really important to me as we're closing that is,
Yeah, I will let you just take us out, buddy.
yeah, I just want to say there's so many things happening in our lives and in the world. And one of my favorite quotes comes from my friend Sheila Marie. And she says, "What doesn't heal repeats." Very simple quote. What doesn't heal repeats. And so this work that we're doing on ourselves is not just for yourself, right? It's for all of us. So it doesn't have to keep repeating down future generations, whether it's kids or not kids. You know, it's like we are the ancestors here now to do the work that needs to be done here now to heal generations backward and forward. And so this work that you're doing on yourself is for you and it impacts everybody. And so I just want to thank you, Addison and Tether, for
Thank
having
you.
me. And I know that my nieces, Madden and Malia,
Hi,
are here
nieces.
watching me. Hi, babies. Hi, love you guys. And and everybody, just you're enough. You know, you're worthy, and we can do this together.
Yeah, no reason to do it alone. Not now. Not ever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin. All right, we will talk soon, buddy. Thank you so
Love
much.
you.
I
Love you,
appreciate it.
Addison.
Love you
Bye,
too, man.
brother.
Have a good one.